It was night time, and he was alone, and he saw far off the walls of a round city, and went towards the city. And he came to the gate, and certain of him, the gatekeepers, allowed passage to him. And he heard within the city the tread of the feet of joy, and the laughter of the mouths of gladness, and the loud noise of many lutes. And he beheld a house that was of marble, and had fair pillars of marble before it, and he entered the house. And when he had reached the long hall of feasting, he saw lying on a couch of sea-purple one whose hair was crowned with red roses, and whose lips were red with wine. And he went behind him and touched him on the shoulder, and said to him, "Why do you live like this?" And the young man turned round and recognized him, and made answer and said, "But I was a leper once, and you healed me. How else should I live?" And he passed out of the house, and went again into the street. And then he saw one whose face and raiment were painted, and whose feet were shod with pearls. And behind her came, slowly as a hunter, a young man who wore a cloak of 2 colors. Now the face of the woman was as fair as the face of an idol, and the eyes of the young man were bright with lust. And he ran forward and touched the painted raiment of the woman, and said to her, "Is there no other way to walk, save the way of sin?" And the woman turned round and recognized him, and laughed, and said, "But you forgave me of my sins, and the way is a pleasant way." And he followed swiftly, and touched the hand of the young man, and said, "Why do you look at this woman in such wise?" And the young man turned to him, and recognized him, and said, "But I was blind once, and you gave me sight. At what else should I look?" And he passed out of the city. And when he had passed out of the city, he saw seated by the roadside a young man who was weeping, and went toward him, and touched his shoulder, and said, "Why are you weeping?" And the young man looked up and recognized him, and made answer, "But I was dead once, and you raised me from the dead. What else should I do but weep?"